All right. So Atlanteans opened up that portal. The dwellers said, "Hey, three, we're going to shadow their world now." They had their fun. They didn't follow the rules, shattering the world. And then they used the seven lords to change the Earth's balance, and Atlantis sank. The doorway to the top, from the bottom of the world that they were using that energy from to the top was closed. They sealed it. They're like, "No, we're going to seal that, and we're going to place Atlantis into darkness." And so Atlantis has been dark. Like that's not been a huge part of history. And now that we're at this place in our awakening and where we're at in the trajectory of a cycle of civilization, I feel like the light is now just like Atlantis didn't go anywhere. It just got put into darkness. And the more and more the light's held within this earth realm, it's now just the only thing changing is the light's now just showing us Atlantis. And it's time. We were ready for this moment where for the story of Atlantis and what happened there to come forth to light. And so it never went away. It's time for humanity to understand the bigger picture of the cycles and events and what we can do different this time, what choices we can make more in balance and harmony with the laws of the universe.
Yeah, and going back to everything is a cycle, all information runs on a cycle as well. So the information from Atlantis and the information from Egypt is just coming back to us in a cyclical way. And that's why we have all of this information now.
And they do talk about like when the seeker is ready for the knowledge will show up. So that just shows it's a positive thing where we're at as a collective consciousness that this information's coming up because it's like, okay, we're ready. Like it's showing up because we're holding that frequency. Our light bodies are at that place. And he talks about how he has a spaceship, right? And which we knew it. But where he put all of his records and everything, and he buried the spaceship, below the caves. And they were talking about the invaders in the future, and I'm trying to look at our timeline and see what they mean by invaders in the future. What do you feel like that means?
Most people have heard that there's a spaceship underneath the Sphinx in Egypt that's meant to be Thoth's spaceship. And I don't know if I've really thought of who the invaders are, but I was trying to think of like what could his spaceship possibly do that would free man?
Is he going to crash it into something?
So when he says, "Raised I to the light, the children of Kim, deep neath the rocks, I buried my spaceship, waiting the time when man might be free." And then he goes on and says how we're going to use his spaceship to basically free humanity. And so my question was, who who is meant to use his spaceship? Like, are there specific people incarnated here that already know where to find his ship, how to use it, what it's going to be used for? And then my other question is, I question if it's like actual invaders. I mean, of course, right away that made me think of the fake alien invasion that we always like hear about and think about. But then I had this thought of if it's meant to really free humanity, what if his spaceship used like a light beam or something to free us from the firmament?
Well, and that could be like the Flash, right? Like everyone talks about. I mean, I think we recently just channeled about the Flash and stuff. There's so many different components to it that I think all information can be to a degree right. And I've even heard channelers talk about on before New Earth, the split, that there's like a laser event too. So it's like, can all those be right? Can the flash be, the splitting of the cells? Can the flash be a laser event? Can it all look the same in different layers? It's like, I think it can, right? Like, that's what I was thinking. Are you thinking he's gonna like drive it into the firmament and just bust it out like the mockingbird? You know, like,
Like humanity is done with this. No,
yeah,
for me, I see it more as like I see it more as like his spaceship opening up like a huge beam of light and it like almost melting the firmament away from us.
Mm-hmm.
That's the image they're showing me right now. This is also why I love Billy Carson and I have so much respect for Billy Carson, is because if Billy Carson wrote this entire book, like I took a master class with him on how to use these tablets to astral project. He's obviously seen the construct for what it is himself, but he just completely understands his role here and how to bring this information to the collective so that people understand it. And so if you read pages 106 to 107 of like how Thoth has a spaceship and it's going to free us and it's underneath the Great Sphinx, the only thing that Billy Carson has to say about all of that is the only way out is in. I love how Billy Carson is like, it's not my place to explain this to you guys. It's my place to show you how to get there to see it for yourself.
Well, and if we're all atoms with planets revolving around us, and he says journey to inner space to synchronize with universal consciousness. So if you think of it, we're just a bunch of atoms of planets, and we just got to get in the rhythm of the galaxy and the universal consciousness. I mean, sounds simple enough, right? But my question to you, if you could leave and you were given that master and they said, you know what, you want to go, go. But humanity could really benefit from you being here. Would you go?
I know I would come back.
The answer was yes, but she'll come back.
Have I had a few rough days where I've questioned it? I think we all have. But ultimately, do I know I would come back? Yes. And I think that's like why when people have out of body experiences, a lot of the time when you get to the other side, they ask you, do you want to leave or do you want to go back? And there's just something in your soul that wants you to finish the experience that you're having for
Absolutely.
most people.
No, I agree. I mean, honestly, like 3 months ago, if I've told my kids this, that if a ship has come to pick me up, that I would go pick up my daughter because I know she'd want to go with me. And then my son's having a great experience here and enjoying and navigating these waters very, very well. And I told him, I said, I know you're doing really, really well. So I just want you to know I love you and I'll see you later. And, and he was like, he knows me, he understands. He's like, okay, cool. Yeah. Like I'm enjoying it here. Like you go do what you need to do. But
That
now
is so cool that you can have those conversations with your or with your kids, because if I tried to tell my parents that I'm leaving on a spaceship, they would be like, "What are you talking about?"
mind you, this has been layers and like moments and moments and moments of me standing in my authenticity and just, them being acceptance. It was not this way in the beginning. It is now, and I'm grateful. They'd either roll their eyes or they just are like, that's mom. She loves spaceships.
That's
But
amazing.
now I'd want to come back. I really would. I don't want to leave him having to deal with the grief of losing a mom. So, and the bigger thing, like I can stay here and help lead his generation for evolution and be a way shower. And it's okay. Like the space traveling days will come, but if we're not going to all get there together, I'm here with you all.
Yeah, absolutely. So we
Except for the transition in 3D and 5D. I want to go to 5D. Sorry, 3D.
Yeah, exactly. Like I can't promise that I would stay in this realm longer than I have to, but I'm here at this time.
I understand the archetype of what we're creating here in this information is going to be left for the third dimension. So like a part of us will be there. Our YouTube channel will be there. I,
Were there any other questions that we had for Thoth?
don't think so.
Beautiful. So let's just bring him in so that we can get a few of our questions answered, see if he has any messages for us. Let me know when you can feel him around you, just knowing that we are safe and protected in every single way, only allowing in the highest beings of light on our journey today.
Yes, I'm here with Thoth right now.
Beautiful. So first, let's just ask him. So tablet 4 discusses about how humans are space born. What kind of guidance can he give us on how is this tablet relevant to our lives now?
So the understanding of being spaceborne is more or less about the internal than it is the external. And the internal is what you're referring to as being atoms and having the planetaries just around you, is that inner space is the most important place for the journey. And the more and more you go to inner space, the worlds of outer space unlocks. When it was talked about the worlds of Atlantis, that they were using the power of below to, you have to think of it like your inner space is that's an example of how to open up that world to within. Once you open up that world to within, then it unlocks the power and the ability to use the application of the emerald tablets to be able to be spaceborne. So you can't think of being spaceborne as starting with external. It's not something that you can access from the external. There are several life contracts where it is that is contracted, and that's for other reasons. But what we're talking about here in the application of the emerald tablets is that you really have to master your own atoms, your planetary systems within, the energy, the void, the creation, that you have to become the master of those realms.
So at the end of tablet 5, he says how his spaceship is underneath the Great Sphinx, ready for when man is free. So first of all, he talks about how in the future there will be invaders, and his spaceship can easily protect us from these invaders. Who are the invaders from the future?
Well, there are different versions of this and different timelines, but the invaders of the future are, it's more of a metaphorical, if you will, as far as that's why it's not capitalized because in the book, because in the tablets, because it is not an actual thing. It's what has been created is an archetype of the cycles. So different versions of this cycle that exist on the timelines have different versions of invaders. So if we tell you where you're at right now, what the invader be, it will not necessarily be the same invader because it will depend on what timeline you're on that you will see. The invader is like we created this role, it's a play, right? It's something that is happening and we have different actors stepping up to play the role of the invader. And so in different timelines, the invader is going to be symbolically played by a different actor, but it's going to embody the same energy of what the purpose of it for those timelines.
So when it says that his spaceship is waiting for man to be free, what kind of technology does his spaceship have?
As far as what's not spoken about in the book,
Yeah, so what is it here for? Do certain people have access to it? Are there people on Earth that already know how to access his spaceship for when this happens?
yes. So I am currently here within this realm. I'm still overseeing the Earth project, so I still have access to the ship. And there is also the three that is spoken to. Their temple was never completely destroyed. They are still here, being teachers of the light and relaying information to the Master of Unal.